Has been set up to help veterans who are struggling with personal demons right here in our own community.
Vets who find themselves locked up or even homeless because they aren't getting the help they need. Fox 26's Isiah Carey is live in the newsroom tonight with a Factor Uncensored. That's Isiah's unvarnished look at a hot topic in our community. Isiah.
Well, guys, we're quick to throw a parade and celebrate the returning troops. But once the parade is over, those veterans, in some cases, are totally forgotten about, left to suffer in a country that proclaims we don't leave one man or woman behind. But we're doing just that. We're leaving a part of them behind on the battlefields of Afghanistan and Iraq. And what returns? In some instances, we found that behind bars. These aren't your average inmates in the Harris County Jail. They could also be called American heroes doing time.
The voices, the screams, it's hard to explain because at times I still hear them.
Unfortunately, there were also body parts that we had to retrieve.
Victor Hammonds and Brian Falk are U.S. veterans who found themselves struggling with nightmares and cold sweats. They also found themselves the victims of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, after serving in the military.
I knew something wasn't right with me because my mind was racing, my thoughts was racing about things that I had no control over.
Those racing thoughts led to, in some cases, self-medicating and criminal behavior, which landed all 23 of these men with PTSD behind bars.
It was difficult for me as a man to admit something wrong with me psychologically, and particularly since you've been raised by a family, your mind is strong.
But these men, like so many men and women who fought for our country, were eventually dumped back into society without the tools they need to survive with PTSD. Who eventually told them about their problems? The staff at the Harris County Jail did. It was part of the Stars and Stripes program created for vets behind bars.
We all are very surprised that there are a lot of veterans who aren't even familiar with PTSD.
That's where Stars and Stripes steps in after the vets are arrested. They're physically and mentally assessed and given medication if need be, something society has failed to do for at least these men. A society that will be quick to thank a uniformed veteran for their service and just walk off.
Beyond that handshake, maybe even just a question, what can I do for you? How can I help you who's helped me?
For now, in the most unlikely place, American heroes are getting the help they need. A program to keep them from reoffending and paid for by the simple system of commissary at the jail. Not your tax dollars, because God forbid, many of you would scream and complain about that, even though we're talking about damaged American heroes.
What we have in common is that we're fighters, and that's what gave me my hope. I am a fighter.
It is unfortunate that so many men and women who serve our country fall through the cracks like that. Joining me now is Harris County District Attorney Devin Anderson and David Mosby with the PTSD Foundation. Is this typical what we're seeing here behind bars, David?
Unfortunately, it is. The United States military spends months preparing our young men and women for battle. It's been very little time and very little resources to help them come home from those battles. That's why we say it takes more than a bumper sticker on the back of your car to support our troops. We're grateful for what the DA and the Judge Fields Court is doing.
And we all have to do more in the community rather than just shaking their hands and say good job. And you're doing more with this new misdemeanor court that's focused on veterans here in the community. Tell me about that.
That's right. We've already had a felony veterans court since 2009, but we see a lot of vets charged with misdemeanors. Some are self-medicating with marijuana or alcohol and commit criminal offenses. If we can show a connection between those, then we're going to work with them to keep them from having a conviction on their record, get them hooked up with services and treatment that they need.
How important was it that you create this court in Harris County to provide them an outlet to clear their names? Because at the end of their program, the record can be expunged.
That's correct. And I think it's important because otherwise we're just going to keep seeing them over and over and over. If you don't treat the root problem, then you've solved nothing. And so that's the purpose of Veterans Court, is to help them with the problems that they're facing, integrating back into our community.
Now, one of the questions I will hear real quick is, if you haven't been adjudicated but you have been charged, can you get into this program?
You can. You can. If you're eligible for veteran services, if your illness is associated with your military service and it's led to the crime, we can refer you, prosecutor, defense attorney, judge, probation department, we can refer you to the court and have you assessed.
All right, David Molesby, Harris County District Attorney Devin Anderson, thank you guys for stopping by on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Back to you guys.